Hi, it's Kari Mason from First Class Creativity. Thank you so much for joining me today. You are getting an exclusive first look at this video through Scrappy TV on Michigan Scrapbooker Magazine. I'm so excited to show you today how I enjoy using the Stampin' Up! Watercolor Wonder Pens, Aqua Painter, watercolor paper, and StazOn ink to create beautiful works of art and totally de-stress from a busy day. So let's get started. I love our watercolor crayons. They're acid free and they come in the color families in sets of 10. So this would be the Regals collection. And then we also have a Brights collection. And then we have our Subtles collection. And then we also have a great pack of neutrals. These are some of the items that you'll need when you're doing watercoloring. Now a little bit about watercolor paper. We're going to be using this fabulous 100% cotton cold press watercolor paper. Now there are 3 different types of watercolor paper out there. There's a hot press, a cold press, and a rough. The hot press is very smooth. The cold press has a texture on it like this, and then the rough watercolor paper is obviously what the name implies. It's really rough. Stampin' Up! Decided to go with a cold press type because it's easier to control the water in your watercolors. So let's get started. When you do watercoloring, it's best to use a line art stamp set. I'm going to be using For the Birds for this demonstration. It's a really fun line art set that is great for many occasions. I'm getting my inspiration from the Sunshine and Sprinkles Designer Series paper located on page 28 of the spring catalog. If you need one, feel free to contact me. My information will be at the end of the video. When you're getting ready to stamp with watercoloring, you want to use StazOn black ink. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up the Thanks for Your Support from the adorable For the Birds stamp set. And this one's really nice because it's like, thanks for your support, and I love our Claremont stamps. Now stamping on watercolor paper can be tricky because if you don't press hard enough, then you won't get a good crisp image, and if you stamp too hard, you'll get that overstamp. So it's definitely a delicate balance between the two. Now you might be wondering why I stamp 2 images. Because watercolor paper needs time to dry in between your layers, that's why I have 2 sets here. In order to color our images, we're going to be using the Aqua Painters. With our Aqua Painters, we have 2 different brush sizes. Just like a watercolor artist has different types of brushes to complete their watercoloring, we too have our 2 different types of Aqua Painters. This one has a bigger tip and this one has a narrower tip. To operate the Aqua Painters, you first want to fill them with water, so this just unscrews like this and you just put the water in that hole, and then you just screw this back up. When you're filling it up, there is a fill line here, so you don't want to go over the fill line. And then to use your Aqua Painters, you just gently squeeze, take your thumb and forefinger, gently squeeze it till the water starts filling up in the reservoir here. And then once the water starts coming out, you can control how much water goes to your brush. And then if it's too much, you can just kind of pinch it and then, go on, which I just did because we don't need that much. For the beginning of the project, I'm going to use the narrow end of the smaller Aqua Painter. And I'm also going to use our classic ink pad in colors Lucky Limeade because we don't carry watercolor crayons in the in colors, and the paper does coordinate with Lucky Limeade. It's a great layering tool. So I'm going to start with that. I've already squeezed my ink pad, and all you do is you just kind of squeeze it like this, and you can actually get a little bit of a reservoir there for your watercoloring. And I'm just going to take it like that and lay it in on my paper. Very light touch. Now, as you can see from the light source, there's a little bit of a shadow on this side. So what we're going to do is make sure that it's a little darker on this side and a little on this and a little lighter on this side. Darkness tells the eye depth, and light tells the eye that something's raised or higher. So you want to use the brighter colors for the highest points and the darkest for the lowest points. So next we're going to go ahead with the birds. I'm going to go with Marina Mist. I'm just going to take the aqua painter onto the tip. Very gently touch it because you're going to have a lot of color. As a matter of fact, I'm going to just put it like that a little bit so I can get an idea. Because this is our first attempt, this does not have to be anything really special. Just kind of color it in. So you can see it's very, very light. Then I'm going to move over to Daffodil Delight. So we're going to have like a little canary here too. So the same thing here. And I am going to want to get an orange for their beak. So let me go get that right now. And what I'm going to do with that is I just take it and just gently put it right where I want on the beak there. Then we can blend that in a little bit. And then I'm going to take the Regal Rose and I'm going to color in the heart a little bit. Now if it bleeds outside of the bird like it is here a little bit, that is totally fine because that's part of watercoloring. And there's the beginning of our wonderful project. So I'm going to set these aside and then I'll come back. Okay, I'm back. So next we're going to add some more depth and dimension to this project. So I'm going to lightly take my Pacific Point. I'm going to bring it over here because it's going to be really, you can see there's a lot of darkness there. And I'm just going to kind of put it right here, ever so slightly, to add a little bit more depth on the bird. There's a little bit of water, a little bit too much water here, but that's okay because I'm just kind of working with it, taking my aqua painter and just gently tapping, so to speak, the paper. And you can see there's some really wonderful shading going on right now. Now I'm going to move on to the yellow. Remember, since we want it a little darker on this side, he's going to be a little lighter on that side. Then I'm going to go to the heart and just make it slightly darker. I'm going to go ahead and take my Marina Mist, and actually I'm going to go ahead and color in between the birds. Now when I do this, I don't have to do a lot, but I find if I do it like this, then I can get in to the little intricate spaces a little bit more. And then I'm going to use the larger aqua painter to take that blue and spread it out. And I kind of call it a feathering technique. I don't know why, it just feels like I'm taking a feather to it. And it's really important at this point not to have too much water on it because it'll bleed into your birds and you don't really want that. But it's going to give a little bit more dimension to the project. And I think you're starting to see how this can be very, very therapeutic, especially if you had a long day. The only warning though is that you could be here forever doing this. It's so much fun. So I have that, and then I'm going to take a little bit of the green. I want a little darker here. I'm going to set this aside to dry because it's really wet right now. And there you have your watercolored piece right there. I'm going to go ahead and put it on our project so you can see how it's totally done. To show you some other examples of watercoloring that have already been completed, this is using a Hostess set called Summer Afternoon. Here's one using Zoo Review. You wouldn't think about it, but yeah, the watercoloring looks really good with the neutral colors like that. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you got a glimpse into some advanced watercoloring techniques there. If you love to get creative projects, I invite you to join my mailing list where you can get creative inspiration every 2 weeks and specialty projects over the holidays. So I look forward to seeing you next time.